Hello, good morning, all of you. Welcome to this webinar organized by the Thematic Partnership S3P on Traceability and Big Data in Agri-food value chain. My name is Judith Anda, and I am the coordinator of this partnership, which is led by the Regional Ministry of Agriculture, Livestock, Fisheries and Sustainable Development of Andalusia. One of the objectives of this cycle of monthly webinars is to provide a useful service to know all the tools available to the partnership members and their regional nodes regarding opportunities of collaboration, access to finance, new trends, and so on. Today, we present the opportunities of collaboration through the Thematic Platform on Industrial Modernization, also called S3P-Industry. As you may know, the Traceability and Big Data Partnership has established affiliation to the Thematic Platform of Agri-food and Industry. So it's time to learn more about the possibilities for companies, regions, projects that are involved in our network. Let me introduce our today's speakers, Isabelle Seigneur and Fernando Mérida-Martín, both coming from the Joint Research Center and working in the coordination of S3P Industry. Isabelle is an environmental engineer and also holds a Master in European Studies. Since 2016, she works as project officer in the Smart Specialization Platform of Joint Research Centers, Territorial Development Unit, and she supports activities related to the Smart Specialization, in particular the fields of energy and industrial modernization. Before joining the Joint Research Center, Isabelle worked as European Project Manager and head of the International Department of the Advanced Technological Center for Renewable Energies of Andalusia and as scientific advisor at the Federal Ministry of Environment of Belgium in the Product Policy Unit. And now, Fernando is graduate in Geography and History, also is postgraduate on Evaluation of Public Policies. He's senior scientific at the Spanish Defense Ministry. Since 2017, he is working in the Smart Specialization Platform of the Joint Research Center in different areas, particularly in energy and industrial modernization thematic platform. He's also working in the analysis of the implementation of S3 in Spain and in Malta. Before, he has working in the Ministry of Science and Innovation and in the National Aerospace Institute, acting as a Spanish national representative to different international organizations, such as NATO, OECD, the European Commission, and the United Nations in areas regarding research, technologies, and innovation. The presentation will last 30 minutes, and after we will open a question and answers time. Until that moment, please ensure your microphone is mute. And in case you have any question, you can use the chat, and Fernando and Isabelle will answer during the Q&A time. So, nothing more on my hand. Isabelle and Fernando, the floor is yours. You can begin. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Judith. Can you hear me well?
Yes, perfect.
Okay, thank you. So thanks a lot to you, Judith, and Maria Jose, and the partnership on traceability and big data for inviting Isabelle and myself in this webinar, where we are going to try to inform you a little bit about the activities of the Industrial Modernization Platform, and also in general terms about the services that the Smart Specialization Platform, as the umbrella that is covering the three thematic platforms on energy, agri-food, and industrial modernization, is offering to the European regions and member states. I'm going to start the presentation, and then Isabelle is going to take over the floor to continue with other parts, and I will come back to the end with some additional information. So I'm not going to lose more time in this introduction, and I will try to start by informing you about these different services that the Smart Specialization Platform is offering to European regions. As you know, probably after these 7 years or more than 7 years of activity of the Smart Specialization Platform, this platform has been trying to support the needs of the European regions and the European member states in developing, first in the designing, then in the implementation, and also now in the monitoring and further evaluation of the results of the Smart Specialization strategies. For this purpose, through the years, we have been preparing different kinds of material, guidance material. We have been supporting access to relevant data and tools as the IRIS-3, regional benchmarking, energy, SIF monitoring, digital innovation hubs. All of these things has been prepared for regions to develop their activities in the Smart Specialization Platform. Can we go to the next, Isabelle? The activities of the Smart Specialization Platform, at some moment it was decided that probably could serve better the regions if we analyze within the platform what were the priorities that were more common in the Smart Specialization strategies that regions has defined. In this exercise, we realized that some elements as energy, as agri-food, and other elements related with industry were very common, very present in the Smart Specialization strategies. So we decided to try to make some kind of common space for these priorities work together, to allow regions that have defined these common interests in working for allow them to work together. So the three thematic platforms started in 2015 and 2016 with the first one, that it was the S3P Energy, the Smart Specialization Platform Energy, with the following appearance of the other two in agri-food and in industry the year after. This platform has been working in several areas, but the most important part of the results of the activities of the platform has been the creation of the Thematic Interregional S3 partnerships. The idea in creating these partnerships is to exploit these commonalities that were identified when analyzing the different S3 coming from all the European territories, and try to work together with some clear objectives. The first of them, it was to avoid duplication, to exploit the complementary strengths, to increase the critical mass, and also to enhance the possibilities for development of common investments in the European value chains. So these were the main objectives of the three platforms and of the thematic partnerships. Can I go to the next one? The S3 thematic platform on Agri-food, that is the one that you probably knows better, is now formed by 5 different partnerships: consumer involvement in agri-food, high-tech farming, nutritional ingredients, smart sensor for agri-food, and this partnership of traceability and big data. In this platform, we have 61 territorial administrative units participating, coming from different regions, as you can see in the map that we have in the slide. All these regions that has this light brown color are regions that are participating in the platform. This platform has the support from DG Agri, DG Regio, and DG RTD, plus the GRC ourselves that are working here. Not only us in the platform, but all the services of the GRC are also involved. And you can see here how many regions are participating in the different partnerships. 4 in the consumer involvement in agri-food, 34 in high-tech farming, 11 in nutritional ingredients, 15 in smart sensors for agri-food, and 22 in the traceability and big data. So it's a quite relevant participation of the European regions in these activities. To the next, please, Isabelle. This one that, as I mentioned before, was the first that was created in 2015. It has 6 partnerships, plus additional initiative in heating and cooling. We have almost 90 territorial administrative units participating, coming from 27 different countries, as you see in the map. It's the color, the green color is covering a very important part of Europe here, and coming from very different countries. I think that most of European countries, or the countries of the European Union, are present in the platform. The objectives of this platform, when it was created, it was to support the implementation of the S3 on regions and countries that have chosen energy as one of the main priorities. As I said before, when we created this platform, the idea of trying to put together all those regions that have identified energy was the main element, but the main element for allow them to work together. And also because we understood that at that time that it was not going to be easy for those regions that have chosen energy to invest the structural funds in an innovative way, because we felt at that time that probably most of the investment were going to be made in very traditional ways, not mixing innovation and energy. So this was the other element that was in the spirit when this platform was created. We are collaborating with DG Regio and DG Ener in the activities of this platform. To the next, Isabelle. And then we come to the big one. This smart specialization thematic platform industrial modernization is the more populated platform of the 3. You can see in the map that there are plenty of European regions participating, and there are several member states that have all their regions participating in one or several partnerships. If we go to the next, we can see to the next, Isabelle. We can see how many partnerships we have here. We have 21 partnerships covering completely different thematics, from the advanced manufacturing to the non-biomass, non-food biomass, 3D printing, chemicals, hydrogen valleys, cybersecurity, artificial intelligence, personalized medicine. There are a huge amount of disciplines that are covered by these partnerships, and that there are going to be more, because we are in the process now of analyzing 3 different options that have came to us asking for the creation of these partnerships. You see that we have in these partnerships 130 territorial administrative units participating. We are talking about administrative units and not about regions, because in some cases several administrative units of the same region are participating in the activities of the platform. As for instance, we can have we have here the mining partnership that has participation from 2 or I think that 2 or 3 different representations of the regional administration. We have 31 leading regions, and there are 4 DGs participating in the activities of this platform: DG Grow, DG RTD, DG Regio, and we from the DRC. It's important to say that this big structure of these partnerships has created substructures in order to the partnerships to work properly. And this platform has a steering committee that is trying to align or to make a better use of all the efforts that the different partnerships are committed. To the next, please. As you are in the case to have, as you did mention, this dual affiliation together with the high-tech farming, also from the Agri-food platform, and the sustainable buildings partnership from the S3 platform. The idea, and this is probably the main reason that as we are here now talking, the idea of having this dual affiliation is to be able to use some instruments that Isabelle is going to explain later on, some instruments that are led or managed by DG Grow, that are there in order to help the partnerships to start with their activity or to work in a specific pilot actions. So it was not possible for all the partnerships that are not belonging to the industrial modernization platform to use these instruments. So several partnerships that have also an industrial perspective in their activities that they are doing are considered able to have this dual affiliation and to be competent in the use of these instruments. I think I have covered my part, Isabelle.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Can you listen to me too?
Yeah.
Yeah. So good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for inviting us to present the S3P-Industry. We intended to present you this short video, which is online on our website, but we have tested it just before and the connection goes very bad. So maybe it's great if you can have a look at this video later on. In any case, we will. It has been recently made, but it represents mostly what we will present you now. So I just let you hear the link, and I will now go on. So you know very good, I think, the methodology that we use to develop the thematic partnerships under the 3 thematic platforms. Just a reminder that it is a methodology based on the Vanguard Initiative methodology, and it is defined in 5 phases: learn, connect, demonstrate, commercialize, and scale up, as you can see here. And very recently, a methodological manual has been published by the team in GRC to help you to develop the first 2 phases of the development of a partnership: learn and connect. This manual it focuses on the first phase because it is exactly where the S3 platform, the 3 platforms, so the people working at GRC, can help you the best. And then, for example, there are many others that I will present you afterwards to go further towards the scale-up and the investment project development. And also, the DG Regio has financed some pilots that you surely know from 2018, and you were part of it. So it is a combination of all supports that can help the partnerships to develop. The first phase, learn, is about the elaboration of the concept notes and with the feedback and validation of the participant regions. It's about the governance structure definition, and it's about finding strategic synergies. And the connect phase is about the elaboration of the mapping of capacities, the agreement of what can be the pilot activities to be developed, and to find potential external support. So I focus on the first 2 phases because of the manual. It is what it describes more. Here, a very brief presentation of what is the status of the S3P-Industry partnerships. Just to give you an idea, we have counted, thanks to the monitoring reports information provided by the leading regions, we have taken all the steps that are described in this monitoring report, where you have said if you have plans or if you are working on the phase, or you have completed the phase, or even if you have completed and monitored the phase. So the green parts are where you have the partnerships considered that they have already carried out well the tasks, and the orange one are the work in progress. So you can see that under the S3P industry there are quite a lot of variations. There are partnerships that are at very different stages of development, and we can see this is the graph for the end of the monitoring reports provided in December 2019, and we could see from the monitoring reports from the year before that the more and more partnerships are advancing well, are progressing and getting to these last two phases, getting in green the phases, each phase. No, so they are moving towards the commercialization and scale-up phases little by little. It's not an easy task, but of course some partnerships have been launched more recently, like for example mining, which was launched exactly a year ago, more or less a year ago, and they are still defining objectives and maybe mapping capacities, but others are really more advanced because they were part of the Vanguard initiatives, for example, from the beginning. So they are working together since 2013 or since 2014, and they have already defined investment projects and they are proceeding to their execution. So it is, of course, just to have an idea about where partnerships are right now. Something very interesting is where are the challenges that are experienced within the partnerships. So the challenge are listed here. Maybe you know those monitoring reports. This is the full list of steps from the scoping notes on the left to the funding mix and the business plan definition and the funding mix. So the executions of those projects on the right side. In orange, you have the challenges that have been declared in December 18, and in December 2019, it's in red. So more or less, you can see that the challenge, the partnerships are progressing because the challenges are progressing also towards the right side of the graph. So towards all those issues related to IPR, demo cases, business plans, and funding mix. That's where the main challenges are now. And this is because you are moving towards the full execution of projects. And this is also very interesting for us that you fill in rightly these monitoring reports, because we are then able to provide and to ensure that you have support maybe through DG Grow or DG or ourselves in GRC in those specific phases. As said by Fernando, there are two very specific support services provided to the S3P industry, because they are financed by DG Grow, which is only part of the industrialization platform. And these are named Reconfirm and TAF, Technical Assistance Facility. You can find more information on our website in the link there. You had a specific webinar on TAF last maybe 2 weeks ago or a week ago, so I will not repeat everything, but it is here in the PPT so that you have the information. But let's go first to the Reconfirm one. Something that has happened under the S3P industry is that the phases learn, connect, demo, commercialize, and scale up have been more or less merging with other names of phases. I know it's like this, but in those publications it is like it has been named like that. So you have phase 0, 1, and 2, which correspond to the setting up of a partnership, phase 0, and then you go to the learn, connect, which is phase 1, and commercialize to the demo, which is phase 2 here on this figure. And Reconfirm provides support in these three phases. The main objective of Reconfirm is to support the regions and their industrial stakeholders to connect, to form partnerships, and to reach agreements to cooperate and modernize together their industry. So they provide a lot of support. They give the region support, for example, in the definition of the partnerships governance at the very beginning, in the identification of additional potential partners for the regions, They support in the scoping of the activities, in selecting the priorities of the partnership, in identifying roadmaps of activities. They help you to map the strengths and weaknesses related to the partnership and the regions, and they help to find, design, and validate also concrete co-investment project ideas, and to identify the relevant industrial stakeholders for these project ideas. It should be work, of course, at interregional level of at least 2 countries, two regions from 2 different countries. And the support has been very helpful to reach the last phase, the phase 3, which is supported by TAF also. So this has started in December 2016, but will continue 1 year more until the end of this year, sorry, six months more, December 2020. So there is no deadline to ask for it. It's on demand, actually. It's a continuous support. It's just as a member of the S3P industry, you have the right to contact us directly, from Fernando and myself, and explain what are your needs, and check if maybe this consortium of very good companies, it is led by Ecoris, can help you in your specific needs. And we begin the conversation, and we check with DG Grow if there is a broker, a business, an expert from those companies that can help you. And when we move to phase 3, so regarding the business plan and funding mix, it's when the TAF arrives. No, so you know much more thanks to the presentation from Marta a few weeks ago. So it's the support is. The idea is to help you in the commercialization phase, and it provides a free of charge, again, expert advice to eligible investment projects. So you have generated already idea until thanks to Reconfirm, for example, or thanks to your own work, and they provide support depending on the specific needs of your project. So the project promoters have the opportunity to work with business, corporate, finance, and legal experts, and they help to boost the investment readiness of those projects. They provide tailored advice really on a wide range of topics, and it can be about the mix of funding sources available, about business model, of course, marketing also, and sales strategies, cash flow analysis, IPR, so many things. You have here all the link necessary to find information to send an application. There is a very detailed guidance notes if you plan to send an application for TAF, and you can see that this support will continue until the end of next year, so December 2021. There are 3 more deadlines to present a TAF application, but the next one is already in a week, 30th of June. I don't know if you have prepared something, but maybe it's a bit short. But then there is another one in September, and then in October again. So I really invite you to try to send an application, because they are very useful, as said by many partnerships. We actually, from the thematic platforms, not only the S3P industry, but of course the agri and the energy platforms, we provide many other support activities. They happen quite often in the format of workshops, or learning labs, or this kind of ad hoc events. For example, we had one in February, the last physical meeting we could have, about smart grid in the next MFF, in the next programming period. And we were trying to link the managing authorities to wider EU and international initiatives in R&D and innovation in smart grid. We can organize also on demand a little bit. It's because the regions were telling us it was of their interest. A workshop on how to implement S3 through innovation procurement. Another workshop was focused on the EU 13 countries. We had it in Budapest, so the idea was to work on specific issues that those countries are experiencing. Of course, Agri-food, there is a very strong work done now to analyze how S3 can help to implement and achieve the SDGs, and how to localize these SDGs in your region. So I put there the link to your very nice webinar, which is online. Synergies with digital innovation hubs are also very favored, and we are also managing these this hub, this catalog of the IH from our team and JRC, so you know that you can have a very privileged access, I would say, to information related to DIH. So do not hesitate if you want to have further information on that to go through us, and we will put you in contact with whoever is needed. And here many other ideas of support that we can provide. State aid also in energy was an issue. Maybe that can happen also in your topics. Financing option is also a very common issue. Social innovation even, and we provide many contacts with other entities that are needed to implement maybe your project ideas, such as EIT or KIC and their KICs and its KICs. The EEM, the joint undertakings, the ETIPs also, for example, in the battery, it's very important now for the battery partnership, but many others, of course. And you may know that we are doing a little analysis on the resilience of the S3 ecosystems across the EU during the lockdown and how they have responded to the emergence of the pandemic. And the idea is to present your own, the work you have done through the, for example, the partnerships or in individual regions during the next European Week of HM Cities. And as I said, it's a question of asking us. We are here to try to provide specific support to your specific needs. Just ask and let's see if we can find you, maybe not ourselves, but if we can find you someone that can answer your needs and your questions. And this graph, you may have seen it on our website. It's like a summary of many other support mechanisms that exist, because the idea is not to repeat what is already done, although sometimes it seems that we are repeating things, but many partnerships and many platforms everywhere. But no, many others are providing their own support, and we will not repeat it. We will just link you to the right person there, and we have contacts in all those, for example, all those initiatives. Interreg Europe, of course, is very useful to put in place the first phases of the partnerships. As I said, the DIH are there. There exists also, you can use your own technical assistant for further if you need help for that. Other regions have done it, and you can ask themselves, and many other assistance and support mechanisms that are available. And now, Fernando, I give you back the floor.
Yeah, thank you, Isabelle. Although the main objective of this webinar was to introduce you a little bit more on the possibilities that you can have by being by have this characteristic of dual eligibility, we have thought that it could be interesting for you to analyze a little bit with other partnerships in the industrial modernization. Could you collaborate? So we are not, of course, experts in your area of work, and we are also not experts in the other areas. As you can imagine, we are dealing with 32 partnerships, and we are very far from have a good expertise in all of them. But analyzing the working areas in which you are now involved, life cycles of the value chain, smart monitoring of the value chain to improve overall competitiveness of the agri-food sector, and the other two, we have identified potential areas of collaboration with other partnerships of the industrial modernization platform. The one in bioeconomy, the one in SMEs, the artificial intelligence, and the European cyber valleys. And we consider that. Can you go further to the next one, Isabelle? And we consider that this could be interesting for you because we identified in the main elements of these four partnerships some areas that could be connected in some way or the other with your activities. With your activities now, nowadays, or with activities that you can develop in the future. For instance, in the case of bioeconomy, interregional cooperation on innovative use of non-food biomass, you have here areas that can sound familiar to you as agro, wood and paper, cosmetic, energy, chemistry, and all of these things in a way could be connected. Also, there are regions participating in the two partnerships in your partnership and in this partnership of non-food biomass as Basque Country, Emilia-Romagna, and Navarra. can we go to the next one? In the case of the partnerships from the SMEs to the industry 4.0, again, we can identify areas of potential commonality regarding digital innovation, for instance, no? And digital innovation is a clear need that all the sectors has to take care, had to be very aware of, and probably in the case of your area of activity, small and medium enterprises are really a key element in the development of the activities. So we consider that it could be also interesting to be in connections with them. We can go to the next one. In this case of the artificial intelligence and human-machine interface, again, we consider that talking about automation systems, talking about industrialization methodologies and so on, there are connections between, or there could be connections between you and them. And again, Emilia-Romagna and Navarra are present in both. And if we go to the last one of this fourth, Isabelle. The European Silver Valleys, again, Britannia and the Basque Country are participating in both partnerships, and there are questions related with cybersecurity that we have identified as potential connections with you. So again, it's only a question of informing you about the possibilities of working together with other partnerships in this very big network that has been created by the European regions with the collaboration of the European Commission. And that in a way, it's interesting to see that several regions are participating in both. In this case, for instance, if Brittany and the Basque Country are participating, and in the other cases, we have seen that Navarra and Emilia-Romagna are doing so. So maybe there are potential connections that could lead to the definition of new pilot actions that could be put in place in the future. Because it's important to consider that, as Isabelle has mentioned when she showed the current status of the partnerships and the evolution of the activities that they have been doing during these years in these different phases, we see that we are at the very stages of the activities of most of these partnerships. That several parts of the job has already covered, and some of those areas that are clearly connected with the creation of trust between different regions, identification of potential areas for collaboration of different regions. This is already created. So we think that we are now in the point in defining in which way we want to continue the work, particularly for the next programming period that is around the corner. And I think that yeah, I think that we have finished. Now come to this question and answers part. I think that we hope that you have found interesting the PPT, and as Isabelle said, we are very happy to answer any question here or any question that you can send to our email account at the GRC.
Yes,
indeed. Thank you very much. Yes.
No, just to say, we think that many of you already know a lot of what we said, but we were asked to present it because it's also nice to present it, maybe some newcomers to the S3 context, S3 platform, I would say, context and partnerships, and we are happy to repeat in any case, every time it is necessary, anything. So do not really hesitate to ask again and again.
Well, I see that we have a question from Cecilia Gagnan about it's in the chat, so it's his question about the links between the EU regional policy and industrial organization policy in the coming programming period, and how both DG GROW and DG REGIO are expected to interact in supporting the S3 partnerships. Well, the first part of the answer is always a very conservative one, because it's a little bit difficult for us to always to say that, but it's true. we are not the ones that are owning the policies. We are just instruments working with DigiRegio, DigiGrow. So the definition of the policies and in which way they are going to interact together in the next programming period is something that we know when they told about, when they say something about that, not because we are involved in it. But the thing that we can say is that the interaction between these two particularly these two DGs, we can add DigiConnect, or we can add also DGRTD to this group of DGs. They are working together. They are trying to identify the best ways to conduct this interregional activity in the future in a better way than it was done now in this programming period, because most of the interregional activity that has been in place during this period has been very complex and very difficult to develop, because the framework was not prepared for that. It was not a framework that we have identified as very easy or very friendly to allow regions to cooperate. But now we are seeing, we are watching now, we are seeing that DigiGrow and DigiRegio are working together. These instruments of Reconfirm and RTAF are instruments that has been created in order to facilitate this interregional cooperation, and there are going to be new instruments and new areas for development. When for instance, we are talking about the former component 5, now the innovation investment instrument is right, Isabelle? Innovation investment instrument is called now.
Interregional Innovation Investment, I3.
Yeah. I3. It's well the evolution of the component 5 that all of you have listened a lot. Again, it's a way in which the different DGs are trying to align their interests together. But we will see. It's something that there are many things under discussion so far.
And also regarding how regional policy and industrial policy are connected, what are the links? What are actually under the new European industrial policy that was now launched a few months ago, in March. In this new industrial strategy has 3 drivers, this is the green transition, the digital transition, and what they call the global sustainable competitiveness, if I'm right. And these green and digital transition, what we call the twin transition, we have listened this morning. For example, there was a Spanish webinar from the Innovation and Research Network, and Miquel Landavaso, our director at GRC, was presenting the role of S3 as a driver for this transition from the Green Deal for the green and digital transition. It is S3 will make it happen locally, this green and digital transition and this global sustainable competitiveness. So the strategy, the industrial strategy designed by DigiGrow now a few months ago is mentioning this local aspect, and S3 can be the governance as tool for the implementation of this transition. So I think they are interlinked very closely. DigiRegio mentioned a lot this industrial policy, and the industrial policy mentioned a lot the regional one. So I think they are interlinked very closely.
Yeah, and also in the view, I don't know how familiar are you with the S3 and the process for the next programming period regarding the ex-ante, well, the former ex-ante conditionalities, now named enabling condition. There is one of these criteria and that are under the enabling condition in the policy objective 1 that is referred to industrial transition. So the connection is there, and of course, as Isabelle says, our director insists very much in the message that the S3 should be the governance mechanisms that lead innovation to allow territorial development and innovation in a broad sense, including all of these things related with industry, related with research, related with development, and all of these elements interrelated.
Okay. Thank you. Maria Jose, could you read other question? Because I have the connection with the mobile and I can see the questions in the chat.
Yeah, sure. We have received another question from Miko from Centria. He asks, how are these described activities expected to continue in the Horizon Europe in the next FP? What's go on? What will be finalized?
Yes, thank you. So I mean, I guess that you are talking more particularly about the reconfirm and TAF activities. I hope that I'm right. Actually, it is not what is clear now is what we have left for these two projects. So as I said, reconfirm will last until the end of this year and TAF until the end of next year. What will happen in the next MFF, in the next period, it's not yet decided, but it's as it is not sure. This is why we invite you really to present maybe TAF applications during the coming months, because DG Grow is very much interested in keeping supporting the partnerships, the standardization, but it may happen under another format, but we really have no clear indications about that. But the partnerships, in any case, if it is about the whole activities of the partnerships and many others, the Interreg will keep existing, the component 5 will, I3 will appear, some new pilots are being launched by DG Regio, as also Valentina said in a former webinar of this partnership, but they are very much related to COVID, so maybe not focused on your topics. But the DGs have the intention to keep supporting the partnerships and the interregional cooperation. So, but you have to think that the main idea is that it is a bottom-up process and a voluntary activity. And if you find that it is interesting to keep working all together, you should find also the resource from your own regions, of course. So that's the main discourse from the DGs, but they will try to find still support schemes to help you.
Yeah, I think that the way that Isabelle has finished her answer connect very well with the next question that is in the chat. We can see that S3P are important for the next programming period, but can you give us practical tips for thematic partnerships to be prepared for that? Yeah, I think that it's in the hands of regions, as Isabelle has said. It has been always in the hands of regions. The contribution, the support that the Commission has offered to regions for the creation of the interregional partnership has not ever been very substantial. We have offered the participation of experts in the different stages of the partnerships, but it has not been the partnerships are not there because the Commission is helping. The partnerships are there because the region are interested or the member state are interested. And now we are in a very crucial moment because in most of the regions, in most of the member states, the operational programs are now under development. And we consider that we have been working with regions for several years in this particular element of the interregional cooperation. We have realized that regions are really interested in the regional components of their activities. So for us, it's crucial, again, I say, that you as key actors in the different disciplines, the different thematics in your region should be an active partner, an active stakeholder in the definition of the next programming period in your region. So if you have been working with other regions in Europe, in this case, for instance, in your partnership in traceability and big data, and you consider that it's essential area of the agri-food sector in your region, you have to try to influence the decisions that are going to be taken by the regional authorities for the next programming period. In one way or the other, if you are able to put specifically this element as one of the top priorities, that probably this is not going to be the case, this is too narrow element, but if you are able to raise your voice in the discussions on what are going to be the priorities for the next programming period, I think that it is the best way to proceed, the best way to guarantee that the activities of the partnerships are going to be a reality in the next programming period. Of course, the Commission is creating now different ways for communicating with regions. The Commission is trying to reinforce the voice of the regions in the discussions that are now in place. But I think that you have to be committed yourself, because if not, no one is going to do your job. So I think that you have very clear the relevance of the interregional part of your activities, and this message has to be sent very clear and very loud to your regional authorities.
Okay.
Thank you, Fernando. Well, we can wait a couple of minutes more for more questions. If anybody wants to open his microphone and speak, it's welcome.
Okay. Maria Jose, I think we can close the meeting, the session.
Yes, we can finish this part of questions and answers, but in any case, if you have additional questions after this meeting is closed, you can send us any question and we will send also to Isabelle and Fernando.
Okay. Okay, but once, yes, Isabelle, do you want to say something?
No, thank you very much. We really appreciate also your work, motivating and dynamizing so much your partnership, be it through those webinars that make people keeping the contact, or also through the newsletter you have created, or anything. So we really hope that you will find some way to keep moving forwards toward those projects that you were mentioning and you are designing now, and that if we can support you also through the S3P industry, we would be happy, or energy, we would be happy.
Okay. Yes, I want to thank to you, Isabelle and Fernando, for your availability today and their great presentation today. I think we have now more prepared for the benefit as about our membership in this S3P industry. And also thanks all of the participants who have joined in today. And no more on my hand. Have a nice day and bye-bye. Thank you very much for your participation. Okay.
Thanks a lot. Very appreciated to be with you. Bye.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.